This brief video is going to summarize the information about decision-making and personal responsibility from Connections Essentials. The decision-making model illustrated in Connections Essentials is 8 steps. On this slide, you see the 8 steps in linear order on the left, and then a circular representation of the 8 steps on the right. The first step is to identify the decision to be made, to actually sit down and think about what you actually need to decide. The second step is to know yourself, meaning your strengths and weaknesses related to this decision. The third step is to identify your options, as many as possible. Here's where you really want to brainstorm and simply list as many options as possible in your situation. You are not evaluating or judging these options at this time. You are simply brainstorming a list of as many as possible. The fourth step is where you start to gather information about your options. So you may need to do some research about potential choices and options you have. The fifth step is where you start evaluating your options. Here's where you can start judging those options you brainstormed in step 3. And our textbook recommends doing a pros and cons list for each of the options. That's what you're doing in step 5. In step 6, you actually select the best option based on gathering information in step 4 and doing the pros and cons and evaluation in step 5. In step 7, you develop and implement an action plan. Just like we talked about with goal setting, you need an action plan for your decision-making process with steps you will need to take and also mini deadlines or time frames. And then number 8, you evaluate the outcomes of your decision. In other words, after you've taken action on your decision, you think ahead of time, how and when will I know that this was the right decision? I chose the right option from my list in number 3. Now, as I said, on the right side of this screen, the model is shown in a circle because as we evaluate our outcomes in step 8, if we determine we have not chosen the best option, it didn't work out the way we expected, then we keep going around the circle. We don't stop. We haven't failed. We simply go back around the circle to number 3 and look at other options. We've already brainstormed that list. We already gathered information and did research in step 4, and we already evaluated those options in step 5. Now we might think of additional options if we go back around the circle, and in step 5 we might know more about potential options that we would rule out. But in other words, in step 8, when you evaluate whether you made the right decision, if the answer is no, you simply use this process to continue back around the circle to steps 3, 4, and 5 to perhaps select a new option in step 6. The other section of this chapter is personal responsibility in terms of mindset. A mindset is basically your collection of thoughts and beliefs. And there are 2 mindsets listed in this chapter based on research from Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford University. A growth mindset means that we believe we can improve and develop our skills and abilities. We take personal responsibility for our actions, our successes, and our failures by learning as much as possible from those failures. If we have a fixed mindset, we believe we cannot improve our talents, skills, and abilities. We tend to see ourselves as a victim of circumstance. What we're trying to do is move toward the side of the growth mindset. That means We look at setbacks or failures and we say, well, what was my role in that? How do I take personal responsibility? And what behaviors did I perform that I could change? So I think about what I can do differently and apply what I learned to that next situation. Having a growth mindset means that we can move forward and grow personally, because if we fail or have setbacks, we take steps to improve, and we will see those positive changes in our life. The second concept of mindset that we discuss in this class is the idea of victim and creator. This mindset model is very similar to growth and fixed, with slight differences in that victim and creator mindset is based on our choices in life. When we are faced with a stimulus that requires us to make a choice, the victim mindset would often blame, complain, make excuses, and repeat ineffective behaviors. And victim mindset usually does not allow us to achieve our goals. If, however, we look at that choice through the creator mindset, we would seek solutions, take actions, and try new behaviors, which often allows us to achieve our goals. So again, victim and creator is similar to growth and fixed, but in this case, we're using this mindset to see how we respond when we have choices in life.